Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
Greetings. Here's a tale that takes place in a very distant past. There lived two brothers in a village that was relatively small. Their origins were in the family, although their lifestyles were very different from one another. On the other hand, the younger brother was still a single individual, while the older brother was already married and had his own family. Together, they put forth a lot of effort in the fields, and they made every effort to cultivate crops that were of high quality. This year, all of their efforts paid off, and they were rewarded with a bountiful crop. A large number of heaps of grain could be seen in the fields. This brought a great deal of joy to both of the brothers. During the course of his work in the field, the older brother eventually became exhausted. "I would appreciate it if you could take care of the pitch," he remarked to the younger sibling. "I'm going to spend some time in the village," she said. Having said this, he departed. While sitting in the field by himself, the younger brother began to reflect on the fact that the harvest this year was exceptionally good, but he was the only one there. "A lot of grain is not necessary for me. Since my older brother is a family man, he has a greater number of duties. He is in worse need of it than I am." Then, in a stealthy manner, he gathered 10 sacks of grain from his portion and added them to the portion that belonged to his older brother. It was after a period of time that the older brother made his way back to the pitch. At that point, the younger brother had already traveled to the village. The eldest brother had a look at the grain and was of the opinion that this year's crop will be satisfactory. "Despite the fact that my family is doing well, my younger brother is by himself. More grain is required by him than I am." Under the impression that this was the case, the older brother similarly took 10 bags of grain from his portion and discreetly added them to the mound that his younger brother had accumulated. When the two brothers returned to the field the following morning, they saw that the quantity of grain had not changed throughout the previous day. They were taken aback and pondered the manner in which this could have occurred. Nevertheless, a smile came on each of their faces as they communicated their ideas to one another on the subject. The two brothers were brimming with love and were willing to make sacrifices for one another. They were even closer to one another as a result of this event. The joy and tranquility that they felt in their hearts was overwhelming. Friends, if we think positively about other people and help them without expecting anything in return, love and unity will develop. To the Australian Osbourne, for more than half a century, the well-known Prince of Darkness has been found to be driving the heavy metal song Space forward. But, in addition to that, he has been, during these years, suffering from injuries, addiction, and other issues, even dangerously close to death experiences that one has. At this time, Sharon Osbourne is bidding farewell to the attention of the public after having to deal with a horrible event, her husband, a fight for survival. As a result of having left the public eye for a considerable amount of time, they now did their very first interview on television, unveiling the difficulties that they have been having with the most recent diagnostic. The situation is as follows. Both of them. And would we be able to watch them once more on our screens? Wait till the very end to find out the answer. Not so long ago, Sharon Osbourne had gave an impassioned update on the situation of the continuing conflict between her husband and many spouses several years, Ozzy Osbourne. Known to the general public as the Prince of Gloomy, the legacy that Ozzy left behind in rock, and there are more than 5 types of heavy metal. Many years. Over the course of the past few years, the great musician has been confronted with a number of the most serious health problems. During the year 2022, she disclosed that her husband was having a significant operation, which, as she said, that would be the deciding factor for the remainder of his living. Additionally, she published a statement on sharing the latest updates on their Instagram account's well-being. She wrote, "Our family would be happy to. Please allow me to express my deepest gratitude for the tremendous quantity of love and affection that support in the days coming up to Ozzy's examination. The Ozzy is doing well and is making progress. Towards, in the course of a public presentation, recuperation occurs. she disclosed that she will not be participating in the public eye for a period of time due to here a surgical procedure would be performed on the husband, and that she would be doing so in order to be by her side that side of. It would be determined by the procedure up till the end of his life. As well, Sharon stated that Ozzy had been holding a secret from him. Himself in a positive frame of mind in spite of all he continues to tear up despite his health problems. It is her. Also, they celebrated their 40th year. That year's wedding, anniversary, despite the fact that it was impossible for them to throw a major party because to his physical well-being, difficulties to overcome. In addition, Ozzy had been the diagnosis of Parkinson's disease was made back then, in the year 2003, but he at long last disclosed it in It Is 2020. He disclosed that it was a rather minor condition of Parkinson's disease and that he would probably pass 10 people every single day that are wearing have it and they are completely unaware of it. Within a most recent interview that was exclusive, Sharon provided insight into the state of Ozzy's health deterioration occurs. It was revealed by her that his Parkinson's disease had already been diagnosed, reached a point where he is unable to continue working separately, and this has been the case here, breaking the hearts of a great number of followers who grew up experiencing his energizing performances at first hand, as well as spirits of defiance. In continuation, Sharon should be encouraging and not easily discouraged in their partnership, acknowledging those who they are. During the beginning, the sickness was underestimated, in particular considering that it was identified back in the year 2000. Nevertheless, the truth turned out to be tremendously more severe than they had imagined. Due to the fact that Ozzy's status is still, Sharon has made the announcement that she will decline, and the family will shortly be saying their goodbyes. An emotional parting is getting ready to take place. Ozzy Osbourne has had a life that is rich enough to featuring music that helped break new ground, crazy antics, as well as internal conflicts. On the other hand, his health has become a serious concern over the years. The concern, which reveals a complicated and frequently trek through a sequence of terrible experiences, situations that are really dangerous, and the diagnosis. It is one of the most important discoveries possible. Regarding Ozzy's health occurred in the year 2020, when he disclosed to the general public that he had been a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease was determined. To be more specific, he was identified as having the extremely rare variant known as Parkin2, which is the disease's genetic variant can be found. The year 2003 was the year that Parkin2 was identified, for having a progression that is more gradual. In most cases, Parkinson's disease is a progressive condition. Disorders of the nervous system that could muscles, mobility, and balance are all important. This has had a significant effect on Ozzy's physical capabilities as well as independence from power. That was the news. For many of his followers, it is heartbreaking because he possesses a reputation for being vivacious and without fear. As a result of Parkinson's disease, he was had to do surgery on his neck, removing all of the screws, because of his nerve feelings. However, Parkinson's disease this is not a sentence of death, as he explained it. The nerves in his body are impacted as a result. He is, as was mentioned in a previous interview, it's similar to next, you'll have a good day, and then another good day. Then a day that was quite difficult. At this time, his life is being impacted by Parkinson's illness. Legs, and he is unable to walk at this point. It was he who said, "I am unable to walk, but you are aware of what I was doing. Pondering during the time off we have? With all of I'm still alive, so don't worry about me whining." The fact that there are other individuals Parkinson's disease patients who are unable to lead a fulfilling life, that he lived his life. But Parkinson's disease is just one of the many diagnoses that Ozzy has received due to the fact that he has been confronted with there are several difficulties with health. In 2019, he was endured a serious fall at home while they were there, recuperating from pneumonia, which ultimately led to major difficulties. The waning exacerbated the injuries he sustained from an ATV accident in 2003 because of an accident that he had to go through. Major surgery on the back, including the use of metal in his spine, rods were implanted. The autumn of 2019 to the point, when the metal rods were dislodged and screws that have previously undergone surgical procedures installed inside of his body. It was necessary for Ozzy to undergo a number of surgical procedures, each one more complicated than the one that came before it, just to make the necessary repairs. His recuperation, in addition, the process was difficult and laborious, and his physical trauma had a significant impact on him. Portability. According to his second spinal surgery, incorrect in a significant way, leaving him unable to move. He was required to have a third operation as a result, in the area where the physicians implanted a rota spine. On the other hand, before the operate organically, the marriage was once again doing well. Ozzy, the separation was referred to as a bumps in the road, emphasized that they are once again on the right path, once more. Their union has been through a lot of tests, a great deal, but he stated that they have returned. On the horseback. As well as publicly, Sharon said that she had forgiven her spouse and that she could not even fathom living her life without him. But, after only a few weeks had passed after their return, collectively, Michelle, who is Ozzy's mistress, Pugh, discussed her with a bunch of people. Affair with the singer that was not married to her. She asserted that they had been having an affair for 4 years, during which time she also fell in love, as well as not being a groupie who is pursuing him simply because of his wealth. It was refuted by Ozzy, exposing the fact that he was in a stressful situation, the treatment of sexual addiction, and the fact that she was removing the relationship from the picture. The context. During this time, Sharon explained that, however, she thought that she couldn't believe it. It was done by that Australian in order to fill the not present in any form. Officially, they are reconciled once more in 2016, and by May of that same year, 2017, Ozzy and Sharon had their marriage renewed. Wedding vows after a period of several months' turbulence. They committed the act in Las Vegas, and Australia disclosed that this was their actual situation. The day of his wedding, which he never had forgotten, and it was as if a fresh start had been made. She also admitted that he was undoubtedly wrong, but without Sharon, he is useless, and he has never been. Any feelings for anyone other than her. By the year 2021, when Sharon moved out, Ozzy was there to support her, due to the fact that he defended his wife in the That Is Public. The pair got married in the same year. The news that there would be a movie was announced regarding their relationship, written by Lee Hall. This action was in collaboration with Sony Pictures as well as Polygram, while also featuring songs by Sabbath of the week. In spite of the fact that they're due of their marriage, the couple has continually declared to the general public that they are still naughty am in love. Aside than Ozzy Osbourne, there are other somebody who has been struggling with health issues problems occur. And in point of fact, Sharon has also thought she was experiencing a variety of health issues, and she at her side was her hubby. As for the second, during the Osbourne season, Sharon gave permission for cameras that will record her struggle with each other colon cancer. Additionally, she disclosed that she possessed the gene that causes breast cancer, which was the cause of her going through a double mastectomy. It was determined that she had colon cancer in the year 2002, which was a pivotal year within the context of her existence. Indeed, she disclosed that she feeling unusually exhausted and pondering the situation due to the fact that she was also very busy. Bhutan ordinary blood test was performed on her when she was a serious case of anemia was detected, which caused her to make use of AA colonoscopy is performed. That is when she became aware of it. Her cancer has progressed to the 3rd stage. 2. Her divulged the fact that she discovered the following. It was her spouse who discovered that he had polyps within his colon. Now that he had seen this, he also insisted that Sharon should also get checked out, causing her to come to the realization that she was diagnosed with cancer. She was shocked to learn that she was astonished and terrified that she had cancer, revealing that it appeared to be the case that I had been hit in the stomach by an unknown person. Unfortunately, the news was somewhat disheartening, and on top of that, Ozzy stated, "When I heard, after they discovered the truth, they simply disintegrated." She contemplated putting an end to the Osbournes by demonstrate. However, she made the decision to be frank, as well as assist others while documenting her journey, as well as bringing attention to colon cancer. This is cancer. The procedure was eventually performed on her, in addition to going through radiation therapy. In the end, she was finally declared to be free of cancer. Moreover, Sharon went through a variety of mental and emotional struggles she had throughout her battle with cancer. However, her family was there to support her, first and foremost, her husband. It was Ozzy Osbourne, indicated that he will be having a discussion with his final performance before he retired from the role of it has been said by Sharon that their family is farewell due to the health problems he is experiencing. His final concert has been scheduled for the future. For the first time, and this would be an example of a moment that is both symbolic and historic. That is, there will be a reunion between Ozzy and his members from the original Black Sabbath lineup in July on the 5th. These individuals are Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and 2025, that is, Bill Ward. What would this performance be? Occur in the city where black people are found. There was a birth of the Sabbath, which would mark the official conclusion of Ozzy's live performances, a profession. It is anticipated that it will be a powerful recognition of his artistic legacy, and an honoring of his goodbye with a tearful heart to all of the fans who have backed him up over the course of the last many years. Ozzy Osbourne disclosed this information in his last concert before ending his career. He would ever, since Parkinson's disease, perform from a throne has affected his ability to walk in a tough way. Even farther, he stated that he will ascend to the throne of the sky, and Go to Blackett was the last time that Sabbath ever performed as the Prince of Darkness visits his former companions, world-famous bandmates. Even though Ozzy has been quite contending, with injuries to the neck and spinal column eyes together with Parkinson's disease, which has resulted in he is a wheelchair user intent on making the most of the present moment. The Union Australian was mocked by one of his bandmates. He would use his aircraft to fly over the stadium, and they are all going to compete for the throne. Sabbath tunes. The Australian will not be able to provide a complete due to the fact that his health was set, yet the also included in the lineup would be other notable. There are bands such as Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax, Pantera, Mastodon, Allison, and Lamb of God come to mind, Hailstorm, Chains, and the most recent Grammy Award. The Giaswami Gajira, who won the award. He disclosed the fact that there were a few things that he would do with them. Also, make an effort to feel at ease. Ozzy. It is common knowledge that Osbourne has a challenging formative years that were distinguished by difficult circumstances and difficulties to overcome. Coming from a working-class background, describing his family in Birmingham on numerous occasions as terrible, adding that his childhood was terrifying. Even from the very beginning, he was terrified. Remembering, since he was a small child, Ozzy was being bullied and abused on a regular basis by in the classroom, teachers. In addition to it, he also who had been subjected to sexual abuse at the school, they are bullies. To add insult to injury, he endured difficulties with dyslexia, and this that contributed to the challenges he faced at education. Once he was 15, he dropped out of school and thereafter went on to work a variety of occupations, including work in construction, the production of tools, plumbing, automobile manufacturing, horn tuning, and slaughterhouse worker. His career in law began. The first time he got into trouble was when after committing a robbery, he was 17 years old and served time in jail, a store that sells clothing. The Beatles served as a source of inspiration. After that, he went on to pursue a career in music. His interpretation is that listening to the Beatles brought to his attention the fact that he would spend the rest of his life as a rock star. He has obtained a position as a founding member of Black 1969 to 1979. When he was a member of the Sabbath due to substance abuse, they were expelled.